and get Bernie Sanders on The View. And I said, you know what, I'm going to cover this real quick because, yeah, people need to know what's going on with The View, and people need to know how Bernie Sanders did. And something happened on this View segment that is so important because we've been getting a lot of pushback. People have been asking questions. And some of it, I get it, man, about Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. And, hey, it came up on the show. They actually asked Bernie Sanders a Tulsi Gabbard question on The View. And also some other crazy things happened. So, guys, I want to share with you a couple of the segments on The View with Bernie Sanders today, and then we're going to talk about it. Here goes the first one.
Next.
So Senator Bernie Sanders is back on the campaign trail for president. He still knows how to fire up voters because he's neck and neck with the front runners, Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. That's the front runners now. Who knows what's coming? But we know who's coming right now. So please welcome back Senator Bernie Sanders.
Did you do that?
Yeah,
I did.
That's joy all over.
Sorry.
I'm going to have to explain this to my wife. You got me in trouble already.
So, B.
Yes, Whoopi.
What's up? Why is this different than the last time? Why is this day different?
Well, it's different for a couple of reasons. Last time, essentially, I was running against one candidate. Now we got about 20 candidates out there. And the second way it is different, and I'm pretty proud of it, is that many of the ideas that I talked about 4 years ago when I was on this show, when I talked about raising that minimum wage to $15 an hour, making public colleges and universities tuition-free, canceling student debt, and looking at health care as a human right. What am I doing here?
Keep talking, because
Keep talking.
The chair's low.
Stand up. Stand up.
keep talking, Bernie.
Yeah.
That's B-roll.
So,
Okay, and making health care a human right, not a privilege, and guaranteeing health care to all people, those ideas 4 years ago were perceived to be radical. And today you find that a lot of candidates and a majority of the American people agreeing with that. And I think the American people would be now understand that there's something wrong when 3 people in America own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. And in the midst of that massive income and wealth inequality, half of the people in our country are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if your car breaks down, if you get sick, people are scared to death. This is the wealthiest country on earth. We should not be in that
You would
position.
think that, given what you just said, that they would be voting in droves and mass amounts, and I don't see that.
Well,
A lot of people don't vote.
and that's a very good point, Joy, and I think a lot of you.
Should we leave you two by yourself?
Yeah. Now, you guys can stick around. That's all right. No, but the point there is I think a lot of people are discouraged and disillusioned. And really what I think goes on in American politics, you got millions of working people who say, you know what, I can't afford health care. I can't afford child care. I can't afford to send my kids to college. I'm paying 40, 50% of my income in rent. Does anyone pay any attention to me?
They think their vote doesn't count, I think, is why they don't vote. But
They feel
I
like
agree
both
with
parties
you.
are not going to help them.
Yes,
That's right.
And I agree with you, Senator. I think your ideas were, you've been a vanguard in that sense. And people were saying that the things that you were saying were just crazy.
Yes.
And let's talk about then Senator Elizabeth Warren, because not only is she a friend of yours, she shares a lot of the same ideas that you came out with first. She's saying Medicare for all, free public college, the Green New Deal. Is there enough room in the party for both of you? Because are you now in danger of splitting the vote and giving Joe Biden a clear path to the nomination?
Well, Sonny, Elizabeth is a friend of mine. She and I have known each other for well over 20 years. And she's going to run her campaign, and I will run my campaign. I think and feel very good about the campaign for, among other reasons, that at the end of the day, the way you win in politics is not through TV ads and radio ads. You win through door-to-door campaigning, people getting on the phone call. We have well over 1 million volunteers. We have more contributions coming into our campaign, averaging all of $19, I should say, low contributions from more people than any candidate in the history of American politics. So I think we got that grassroots support to win the election.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Andrew Yang was here and made perfect sense to me. And I haven't heard really anybody else in the party, whatever party we're talking about, say, hey, do you realize that if Facebook and Amazon and all the other gigantic corporations paid any tax, we could find some relief for regular Americans?
Sure.
Do you agree with that?
Of course I do. I've been talking about that for years.
Well, no, I haven't. When Andrew came on and sort of broke it down, what he suggested, and I'm sure you know this because you've been spending time with him, but his idea was, if one of those companies gave every American $1,000, people's lives would change. What do you think of such an idea?
But this is what I think.
Okay.
I think that right now, when you have Donald Trump and his friends giving well over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and large profitable corporations, I think that's obscene.
Right, but will you change that?
Of course I'll change it.
Well, how do I know this?
Because I've been talking about it for 25 years.
Well, you haven't. Not for me. Not like this. Yeah,
but look,
it's a little different.
What you got right now,
Yeah.
Whoopi, this is what you got. You got Amazon, owned by the wealthiest guy in America, made over $10 billion in profit last year. Do you know what they paid in federal income tax?
Nothing.
Not a penny.
Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
I know. So what I'm asking you is it your position that these corporations, all of these big corporations will now, if you're elected president, one of the things you're going to make sure that they do is they pay their fair share, and that will trickle to the American people?
That's at the very top of my agenda. Absolutely.
Yes, that's his
Absolutely.
I don't, I don't really know because, I've watched you over the last several years and I've had lots of questions about what you want to do. So
Yang's also talking about giving every American money.
Yes.
All right, but I'm talking about giving every American a job, which I think is terribly important. We have an enormous amount of work to be done in this country in terms of climate change to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. We're talking about creating up to 20 million good-paying jobs.
Yeah.
We're talking about rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. We're talking about building the millions of units of affordable housing
But everybody
that this
does.
country
Everybody
desperately.
says that, Bernie.
No.
Everybody says
Well, in all due respect, I think the agenda that I am bringing forth is the most progressive agenda ever brought forth by any candidate, serious candidate running for president of the United States.
Can I, okay, you want to ask a question? I just want to ask something on that point, because Nancy Pelosi is now saying that the moderate is the one that basically is the most elected.
Well, I love Nancy, but she and I disagree on this issue. I think the way you beat Donald Trump, and I must say that in my view, Donald Trump is the most dangerous president probably in the history of this country.
We agree.
And it gives me no pleasure to say this. It really does not, because I have conservative friends who I like and respect. But Trump
Can I hear any in Congress or the Senate? I'm generally curious about bipartisanship. Can you name one?
Johnny Isakson of Georgia, who's recently retired.
I was like, he's retired.
Johnny is your dad was somebody I work with.
But they're dead and now not.
Johnny is not dead.
I know, but he's not. He's leaving. He's
Leaving.
retiring.
They resign. They retire.
Look, even somebody like a George W. Bush, who was a very conservative
anyone
guy.
in office that if you were president, that you would work with on the other side.
Lamar Alexander.
Okay.
All right. Lamar is head of the committee that I'm on, the Health, Education, Labor Committee. Lamar is a conservative Republican. Lamar is not a liar. Lamar is not a sexist. He's not a racist. He's not a homophobe. He's a conservative guy. It's called American politics. So I, work with your dad. I work with other people on issues where we can come together. That's what I think American politics is supposed to be about. But you have a president today, and again, it gives me no joy to say this. He is a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And when people ask me, what do you think about what Trump said 5 minutes ago in a tweet, I say, I'm not going to say anything because 10 minutes from now he's going to change his view. I can't comment. Yeah. This is not the kind of temperament or personality that we should have in the White House,
Absolutely
in my view.
True.
Absolutely. So you're saying You want to stay a little bit longer? All right. So we're coming back with more.
All right, so that was the first half of the video with Bernie Sanders on The View. A couple of things, man, right out the gate. I noticed that Whoopi Goldberg called Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden the front runners. I remember seeing some polls where Bernie was beating Elizabeth Warren or where they were tied. I wouldn't necessarily call Elizabeth Warren the front runner. But there you go, guys. They also talked about Bernie Sanders being the forefront of the ideas. Yeah, he is at the forefront of these ideas. He was the one who was on The View a couple of years ago talking about $15 minimum wage, and I remember Whoopi Goldberg disagreeing with him. I remember other people giving him a hard time talking about Medicare for All. Oh, it doesn't seem realistic. It doesn't make sense. What other countries do, we can't do. And now we having freaking conversations on political panels and debates where Bernie's topics, Bernie's issues, policy issues, are the ones that are front and center. So what does that tell you about who is the most influential candidate in this race? No one's debating Joe Biden's stances. No one's debating Elizabeth Warren's stances, but they do debate Bernie Sanders' stances. In fact, Bernie Sanders' stance on Medicare for All, about coverage and insurance and health care being a human right has become the center stone of this debate season. It's sort of like the litmus test for everyone to have to somehow come up with their own little spin on what Bernie Sanders has been talking about for years. So right there, that's my reason for saying Bernie Sanders is the true front runner. Forget what their polls say. That's the way I look at it. That's the reason why I come to that conclusion. Because he so dominates the conversation. And this has been from the last election cycle on to now. Whoopi says, well, you know, what's different now? Well, Bernie Sanders pointed to a couple of things that make this election cycle different. He pointed to 1 million volunteers in his campaign. And the way that you win campaigns is actually door to door. You won't win them in campaign ads. You won't win them taking dark money and running a bunch of ads in states, but you will win them with grassroots support and energizing people. I like the part where they brought up Nancy Pelosi, and how Nancy Pelosi says a moderate candidate is what they want, or what will beat Donald Trump. I think this is such a crock, guys. It's such a load of it. You know, no one gets excited about moderates. You know, we're going to have a moderate party. Let's play some moderate music. How was the food? It was moderate. Does that sound like anything that would excite you? How about a moderate back rub? No, like moderate is never exciting. So how are you going to bring out those people that they talked about who are disaffected voters, people who don't feel the system works for them? How can you get more than, 45% of the American people to actually come out and vote? Well, you ain't going to get it by running a moderate. And that's another thing. When you have an incumbent president, which is Donald Trump, in office, he already has the advantage because he's already in office, okay? So I think the way you have to beat Donald Trump is to have enthusiasm. But see, I believe, as I've always said, guys, I don't know if you knew in that, but the establishment Democratic Party, they'd rather lose and keep Trump than have a Bernie Sanders change the system, because they've been eating just fine off the system. Nancy Pelosi has become a very rich woman off the system. Chuck Schumer has become a very rich man off the system. You think they really want to change the system? You think they really care about the fact that you're struggling? You think they really care about the fact that the average American family can't afford a $1,000 emergency? If the car breaks down, people got to go without lights in order to get the car fixed. They got to make a choice. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi has those type of problems? And do you think she's willing to give up money or give up power to see that change in America tomorrow or by the next election? See, I truly don't believe they will. But I could go on and on. Let me hit a couple of more points. What the hell is Whoopi talking about? She doesn't know that Bernie Sanders has talked about big corporations and tax breaks. It's only the cornerstone of his, that was his main thing. Right after Medicare, it was always, come on, guys, say it with me. How much does Amazon pay in taxes? How much did Walmart pay in taxes? How much did Google pay in taxes? I mean, it's like It's embedded in my brain. He said it so often. Oh, so you thought when he said, hey, listen, everybody, Walmart doesn't pay anything in taxes. You thought he was just saying that. You mean you actually believed he wasn't going to tax them? You actually thought that he was just saying it and he didn't mean we're going to take that money and redistribute it? That's been the biggest knock on him. That's why he has a wall of shame on his website. This means that Whoopi Goldberg really does not, and don't get me wrong, I don't know what Megan's doing up there. Sonny's really disappointed me with her smear on Tulsi Gabbard. But, gosh, man, if you don't know that Bernie Sanders is against these big corporations and has been calling them out, he's the guy that called out freaking Jeff Bezos and Amazon. He's the one that got Jeff Bezos on the hot seat. He's the one that got the raises going, the $15 minimum wage. He's the one that's pushing Disney. You don't know that Bernie Sanders is doing that? Look, if you don't know that Bernie Sanders is taking on corporations, your ass shouldn't be on the show. I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm willing to put up with a lot, but if you don't know that, if you are that dense that you don't know that, Bernie Sanders is anti-corporations dodging paying their fair share of taxes. I mean, he talks about it all the time. How does Bernie Madoff's secretary pay more in taxes than Bernie Madoff? You really don't know that that's his thing? See, this makes me feel like they're just trying to prop up anybody against Bernie Sanders. What does Andrew Yang have to do with this? Andrew Yang learned it from Bernie. Andrew Yang is talking about income inequality. In his book, he talks about Bernie being his idol. Same thing with Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Same thing. He wrote a book. Oh, look at Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is an inspiration. All of these people, when they were idealistic, before they started running for president, Bernie was the guy who had the policies that inspired them. But Whoopi Goldberg and many others have no freaking clue what Bernie stands for. But see, I don't think Whoopi's that out of it. I don't think that she is that much a moron. I think she knows. I think she's following a script that they say, this is what you say, Whoopi. Say this dumb crap here and discredit Bernie. Say this dumb crap and interject Andrew Yang. We wouldn't want to give Bernie too much spotlight. One last thing, guys, before we go to the next clip. Elizabeth Warren. I did like one part where they pointed out how Elizabeth Warren all of a sudden has adopted all of Bernie Sanders' policies. Yeah, I find it really strange. Or coincidence that all of a sudden Elizabeth Warren has all of these policies that derive from Bernie Sanders. Seems like somebody's a policy thief. And I hear all how Elizabeth is so progressive. Once again, guys, where were these policies 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 3 years ago? Where was all of this progressive integrity coming from Elizabeth Warren? Where was it all? I want to know where it was. Why was it so dormant? All of a sudden it has risen. And I appreciate the fact that Bernie Sanders took the high road, saying a 20-year friendship is what he's had with Elizabeth Warren. She will run her campaign, he will run his. I appreciate it. I'm just saying. Bernie can't say it, I say it for him. Elizabeth Warren is a policy thief. And she's trying to steal my man's thunder. All right. And unfortunately for some people, it's working. Got to keep hearing about how great Elizabeth is. Yeah, I guess if you stole lyrics, if you bit lyrics, I guess you could rap pretty good. But do you really have a substance that goes beneath the lyrics? Are you really going to fight for the actual policies at the end of the day? Will you really put it all on the line and truly fight for it? Not just say, we're going to fight. Oh, winky-dinky, kawinky-dinky. Oh, fiddly sticks and pumpernickels sandwiches and butter brisket. Oh, wow. Golly gee willikers. You know, are you really going to get in there and really get your hands dirty and fight for these policies? All right. Gosh, man, how much caffeine is in this coffee? Oz? All right. All right, guys, so we got the second part, Bernie Sanders on The View, and there's going to be questions about Tulsi Gabbard. Here we go.
We're back. See? With Senator Bernie Sanders. Abby?
We started the show talking about someone you know well, Joe Biden, still leading the polls. Look, we know him as making gaffes over the years, but he's had a rough month and most recently messing up that war story. Do you think the media and people are too hard on him, or are we in a race about truth and facts right now?
Well, I think the media has its job to do, and they will record what I say and what Joe says and what anybody else says. That's their job. All I can say is I've known Joe for many, many years in the Senate and worked with him when he was vice president. We're friends. Joe and I have our differences in terms of our vision for the future, and our records are very different. Joe voted for the war in Iraq. Joe voted for the Wall Street bailout. I did not. Joe voted for some very bad trade deals, which I didn't vote for. So, the voters will reach their conclusion.
But is there a double standard? Would you criticize him for telling the same story?
Oh, for Trump is in another world altogether. I mean, Trump is a profound liar.
Yeah.
So and it's embarrassing to have to say this, that what Trump says doesn't mean anything because he often just makes it up and it has nothing to do with reality. I don't think that is Joe Biden at all.
No.
Yeah. Senator, can I get a little wonky with you? So President Trump, in conspiratorial terms, he recently tweeted that the DNC has already decided to back Biden. He said, look what they did. The DNC is again working its magic in its quest to destroy crazy Bernie Sanders. I feel uncomfortable saying that to you. For the more traditional but not very bright, sleepy Joe Biden, I feel uncomfortable with that too. Here we go again, Bernie, but this time please show a little more anger and indignation when you get screwed. So he's basically saying that the DNC screwed you over last time for Hillary and is going to screw you over again. Do you think that's happening? And if it does, will you have a contested convention?
Well, Meg, let me respond in two sentences.
And I would never speak that.
I know you. I know you.
We have our
when President Trump refers to somebody else as crazy, talk about, somebody in a glass house. So President Trump.
It's called a projection.
Yes.
So you feel like the DNC is in the tank for candidates?
Look, last time around, and this time, my campaign, talked about it with Whoopi, we are taking on the establishment. That's no great secret. We're taking on Wall Street. We're taking on the insurance companies, the drug companies. We're taking on Trump. We're taking on the Republican machine. We're also taking on the Democratic establishment. The difference, though, between this time and last time is, as you will recall, before the first vote was cast in Iowa, Secretary Clinton had 500 superdelegates lined up behind her. In other words, like it's a 100-yard race, she's on the 30-yard line. We ended that. I would go further, but right now, on the first ballot at the Democratic National Convention, no superdelegate will be voting. That's a step forward. Second of all, I'm feeling pretty good about our campaign, and I very much appreciate President Trump's wholehearted concern about me. I know he is being sincere about this.
Can I just follow up really quick, though? But Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is saying she's been excluded from the DNC stage, and she actually resigned, as you know, as vice chair of the DNC last time because of your treatment. Number one, do you think that she was right? Again, I just don't know if getting rid of superdelegates is enough. And do you think it's your turn to stand up for her to be on the debate stage now?
Let me just say this. I would go further. I would ban superdelegates from voting on any ballot. We could not achieve that. We got them off the first ballot, which was a step forward. Tulsi is a good friend of mine. Where the DNC right now had a difficult problem. How do you deal with 20 candidates who are running? Do you have 20 people up on the stage together? Does that make a sensible debate? I think not. So they came up with their approach. I am not a great fan, I should tell you, Megan, as to how we do debates in general.
Right.
My own feeling would be, rather than giving people 45 seconds to talk about what we do with the crisis of high cost of prescription drugs, we focus on healthcare, we focus on climate change, do it issue by issue, rather than trying to deal with 50 different issues in a short period of time.
I'd like to get into an issue very quickly with you, if you were running out of time. Yesterday, Walmart announced it was ending all handgun ammunition sales. It asked customers not to carry guns into stores. It got rid of handguns in Alaska, making it a complete exit from handguns for Walmart. While over the weekend, Texas loosened up its gun laws. Now, if you are elected president, first day in office, Senator, what do you do about it?
We announced to the country that we will not be intimidated by the NRA. That we will, in fact, look, what has gone on recently in Odessa, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, El Paso, so many other instances, the American people and the children of our country are horrified. And we have got to do everything that we can to end the gun violence. And here's the good news, Sonny. The good news is that, by and large, the American people want to pass strong gun safety legislation, And more people, by the way, agree with the position I've had for a long time, that we should ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country, which I think is the right thing to do.
Well, there you have it.
All right, so they started off the conversation talking about Joe Biden's gaffes. Guys, would they even call them gaffes as anybody else did them? I mean, I don't know. Some of you are at work right now watching this on your lunch break or whatever. If you offended, I don't know, everybody in your office, would they just call it a gaffe, or would they call that a reason to be terminated? Or would they call it a reason to write you up? It's just amazing to me that they can say, that Joe Biden can say, make up stuff or say stuff that's crazy or whatever, totally misremember or misspeak, and it's just considered a gaffe. Yeah, Bernie's too classy a guy to make an issue of it, but I'll do it for you, Bernie. Joe Biden looks horrible when he does these things. It's not good. And it's obvious, I mean, if you want to use your son's death in order, a way to try to say, well, we don't need Medicare for all, like you are so intimately connected with health care that somehow you make it reasonable to say you don't support everyone having health care coverage. I don't know how you do that, but if you do that, okay, that's fine. But I think it's disgusting to then for Joe Biden to take, I don't know, one story and squeeze it in with another story and stretch it out with another story of totally unrelated events to try to make this narrative so he can score points on the campaign trail. It's not cool. It's not right. And hey, I just think you should hit him on it. But Bernie, being a bigger person, he doesn't hit him on it. In fact, he says, hey, he sticks to records. He says, hey, I got different policy positions than Joe Biden. I've made different decisions. I voted differently, and let's keep it there. And I get it. I get it, okay? I'm just a little bit more controversial, I guess, all right? But I do appreciate the part where he won't compare Joe Biden to Donald Trump. I mean, yeah, I think it's important to be accurate as possible if you're up there talking, that Joe Biden shouldn't go off the ranch. He should stop letting a horse run out the barn every time he opens his mouth on the campaign trail. But come on, guys. Like, Trump will just say anything, and he doesn't really care about accuracy. So I think you can't just say, okay, you got two people, let's just toss a coin about who's least accurate or who tells the biggest whoppers. I think, obviously, Trump is the Lion King, and I don't know. Joe Biden may be the Dutch of falsehoods. Or the Duke of stretching the truth. I don't know. The Duke of falsehood. That's it. One of those. All right. The DNC backing Biden. Notice this was interesting. Meghan McCain quotes a tweet from Donald Trump. Did anyone notice the date on that tweet? The date on that tweet was like April. Yeah, April. See, this is the thing about The View. And I try to tell people, look, The View is only there to knock down progressive candidates. Like, that's their main focus when they do these shows. That's what they're trying to do. Why else would you be digging through old emails or old tweets of Donald Trump to bring them up on the show? Just to try to sandwich him about the DNC. And Bernie responded to it in a way that I think will do him the least amount of damage, which is saying, hey, we did what we could to reform the DNC. We're working towards a better DNC. We stopped the superdelegates on the first ballot. We wanted to stop them totally. We wanted to get rid of superdelegates, but we're unable to do so. And then the money shot. Meghan McCain brings up Tulsi Gabbard. All right? For some strange reason, suddenly Meghan McCain is a big Tulsi Gabbard fan. Once again, I think it's sort of strategic. I think the producers of this show know what they're doing, and they're kind of wedging Tulsi Gabbard in with the Republican. Abby Huntsman, a Republican too, right? I don't know. But they're wedging it in with a Republican to try to, create this symbolism that Tulsi Gabbard gets supported by Republicans. But I like Bernie Sanders' response on this. And I hope people can see it and hear it very clearly. Bernie Sanders said, Tulsi Gabbard is a good friend of mine. Tulsi Gabbard is a good friend of mine. Bernie Sanders says that about everyone. I'm glad he said it here. I'm glad he stood up for Tulsi Gabbard and made that statement. I know people want people want things from Bernie that I don't think you should expect people who are running for office to do. How far is he supposed to go? He's supposed to say the DNCs are cheap and then expect DNC to treat them fairly in this process. I don't know. Like, everyone's got an opinion on it. I think Bernie Sanders did a good job of saying, hey, claiming Tulsi Gabbard as a friend. And there you go. That's what he did. So people who say that Bernie didn't claim Tulsi Gabbard, he didn't support Tulsi Gabbard, why did he do that to Tulsi Gabbard? Once again, guys, I want to point back to the record. There was a survey done. It's a long survey analyzing small donations to the campaigns. And in that survey, which I posted in the earlier video, Bernie Sanders supporters have given the most to Tulsi Gabbard, except for Elizabeth Warren. Now, we know Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders go back 20 years. Bernie Sanders has been in office almost 40 years. He's been in politics a long time. He has relationships with people. But Tulsi Gabbard, his supporters have given to Tulsi Gabbard almost as much as Elizabeth Warren. So that's something that I don't think people mention enough about the solidarity between the two campaigns. I don't believe that you necessarily owe each other, but when you have like interest, when you are friends, and for God's sakes, man, she campaigned with him in 2015, in 2016. There has to be a relationship there. I think that people underestimate stuff we can't know, like that there are maybe possibly private conversations, that maybe possibly Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard talk, that maybe Susan Sarandon, Nina Turner, and Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders all know each other, or Jane Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, or like there are relationships that we don't know about, that everything won't come out in an interview. Everything won't be discussed on The View. I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, I don't think Bernie's a horrible individual. I don't think Bernie would just throw Tulsi Gabbard under the bus and act like nothing happened, that he does respect her and she is a friend and he wants the best for her. And likewise, I feel that she wants the best for him and that she considers him a friend. So that's what I think about it. I'm so glad that Bernie Sanders claims Tulsi Gabbard as a friend, makes that clear, didn't shy away from it. He has to know that within the Democratic Party, she's very unpopular after knocking out Kamala Harris, and he still says she's a friend of mine. So I think that matters, and people need to respect that and acknowledge it. And I'm not saying it's everything, but it's something positive, and we need positivity. Positivity instead of turning down Bernie and turning down Tulsi. And I also agree with Bernie that the debate format is not a great format to actually get to know the candidates, to actually know what they think, to actually know where they really stand. It would be better like tonight where they're going to have a topic, climate change, and you get 40 minutes to explain your climate change proposal, your climate change stance. I like that better than a bunch of people on stage. This person gets 30 seconds. This person get a minute. This person gets no time. It's horrible. So I like this new strategy. I would much rather have Tulsi Gabbard on the stage in the third debates. I think she earned the right to be in that debate stage. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. I sent out a tweet. It was retweeted 2,000 times. It was seen by 200,000 people. To Tulsi Gabbard and to the DNC, and Tulsi Gabbard did not retweet it, and the DNC obviously did not respond, nor did she like it. But I said that the DNC needed to do more than just be transparent, that the DNC needed to be a democratic process, and we want fair treatment for Tulsi Gabbard. So I stood up for the best I could. It is what it is. And a lot of you people saw it, and you retweeted it. So I just think it's not only up to candidates to stand up for candidates. I think it's up to the media to stand up for candidates. I think it's up for us to stand up for candidates. Sometimes we can say things that they can't say is my point. That's my point. We can say stuff a lot plainer, a lot simpler, a lot more go for the jugular than some of our candidates can. So that's it, guys. That's what I got from it. Once again, I feel great. I feel great that Bernie Sanders supported Tulsi. I feel great that he stood up for himself. I feel that this is going to be something. This is going to be something we can build on, and we still have a long way to go. And I'm glad both of those progressives are still in the race. All right, remember, guys, Thursday, Scott Santine, UBI advocate, will be on the show, and look, this is going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Thursday, 10 p.m. Tonight, Climate Change Forum started at 5 p.m. CNN.com if you want to check that out. And you can find me, Real Tim Black, on Facebook and Twitter. Also, Tim Black at Night on Instagram. All right, guys. Thank you for sharing your coffee with me. I know you weren't expecting me to come by with coffee, but I'm here, you here, we drank coffee. They talked. And look, man, I got a little pumped up, man. I just get tired of the View, man, with the fabrications and the false narratives. You know? You think they really care? I don't think they really care. I mean, Meghan McCain pulled out that old tweet from Donald Trump about the DNC is going to cheat you. Are you going to contest the convention? He's trying to win, man. He's trying to win. Does the DNC favor the establishment candidates? I don't know. Do you think the establishment favors establishment candidates? Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's a question you need to ask. If you're asking, like, you know, why would you need to ask if the establishment favors establishment candidates? I think it's not really a question. It's just a way to try to hurt Bernie. Do you guys understand that? When you say, Bernie should say, yes, this is it's crooked, it's rigged, and they're trying to destroy me, and you just realize that would hurt Bernie. I want you to understand that him saying, yeah, the DNC is rigged against me, and blah, 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 that is dangerous because a lot of moderate Democrats who might vote for him would be turned off to him. They would demonize Bernie and use it against him. You would feel good. I would feel good. We'd be like, yeah, Bernie, you sucked it to him. And then he would go down in the polls. Because CNN and MSNBC and CBS and ABC would all trash him, and New York Times and the Washington Post and Politico and the Daily Beast and the Salon would all trash him in the media simultaneously. Meanwhile, we'd have a few people like Lee Camp and Jimmy Dore and myself standing up for him. And that's just not enough to combat all of the garbage. Get it? Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Don't forget to subscribe and become a Wolfpack member, guys. $5 a month, you get a Wolfpack gift pack bag. Yo, and I got a bag of goodies I send you if you send your address in to clientcare@timblacktv.com. Nothing but love, respect for you. We may not always agree, but believe me, my heart's always in it, and I'm always trying to be on the right side. I love you. I'll see you soon. Peace.